But the traders offered opportunities for the Diné to bring in their weaving and their arts and craft, their baskets, and they are the ones that were able to send rugs back east and baskets all over the world, and silversmithing and that was done by the Diné. One of the things that the Diné have really appreciated was the opportunity to trade. Down through the centuries and that, we have always had items to trade for various things, and everything was based on the idea of trading some type of thing or substance or material in exchange for what might be considered of value to the one receiving and the one giving. So it was probably after 1540 and 1550 that our people may have had the contact with the Spaniards to begin a small trading opportunities and that became available with the arrival of the Europeans. But there was also a lot of fighting between the Spaniards and the Diné. Nakai is what they called the Spaniards, and it was that the Spaniards were not considered a very good people. But so later on, as the years passed, in the mid and early 1800s, our people were well established with the trading opportunities with the Spaniards. About that time, the Diné had been pretty well successful at keeping the Spaniards out of the southwest in greater portions. And so they did allow certain locations to remain, such as Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then down to El Paso, Texas, and then south of the border into Juarez, and then along the west coast of San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. But none of them had established any trade opportunity inside of the greater portion of the Southwest. But the early traders in that came into the heart of the Navajo Nation were actually the white people that came, and there are some of the ones that brought with them education opportunities and hospitals and many other things, and that these early traders brought into the various communities of the Diné. And one of those is the Hubble family around Ganado, Arizona. And the Hubbles were able to bring in the medical facilities and education and a lot of training in that as to how to irrigate fields and to transport water through ditches and aqueducts into the larger land areas so that they could harvest all types of plants and that, especially hay and corn and cotton. And so it was at the Hubble Trading Post. You can get a lot of information there. And then as you go north, there are other people in that brought trading opportunities. And then there was the Goulding at Monument Valley, and that brought in a much needed a medical center and so on. And then over in the other part of the Navajo Nation, over towards Shiprock and that area, there were people that brought in trading opportunities as well as education and so on. And I'm not familiar with all of the names, the Fausts, the Brimhalls, the Tanners, and so many others. And then you go south down to Vanderwagen and all those different places. But there are some people that just took from the Diné and really took advantage of them as well. But the traders offered opportunities for the Diné to bring in their weaving and their arts and craft, their baskets, and they are the ones that were able to send rugs back east and baskets all over the world, and silversmithing and that was done by the Diné. And so it was that they established an economy in the early days for the Diné, especially when they had herds of sheep and goats. They would shearing season would be a time when the goats and the sheep would get sheared, and they would take the wool and send it to wherever there was a mill, and they would produce wool and that. And so it was taken to the trading posts, and the trading posts and the traders would make those arrangements. And so it was that the traders were very helpful to the Diné. I've known some in my time, and I really do appreciate they sometimes to communicate with relatives that had moved away to big cities and that. The only ones that would get the mail would be the trading post people. And so the traders would write letters and also read letters and that to the Diné, and because they may have not been able to communicate by reading and writing, so the trader would help them do those things. And when somebody became ill, they would transport them to hospitals, or if children had to go and be enrolled in school, they would fill out papers for them. And so it was that traders were very helpful. But a lot of times there are negative things that crop up now and then, and they are true. But I think in general, I appreciate what the early traders were able to do for the Diné and our people.